You have been taking it consistently for 3 weeks now, every single morning, without fail. You stand in front of the mirror, turning side to side, flexing your muscles, searching for even the slightest hint of change. But let's be honest, you feel a bit let down. There are no massive, bulging biceps staring back at you like the ones you see in those flashy advertisements. It is frustrating, isn't it? You might even be tempted to think that it is not working at all. But before you let that disappointment sink in, wait. Because the real surprise does not happen in front of the mirror. It happens the moment you step into the gym. Think about that third set of squats, the exact point where your legs usually start to shake and your mind tells you to quit. Suddenly, you realize you have more left in the tank. You push through the plateau with a strength you did not have last month. And it is not just physical. During your workday, that usual afternoon fog seems thinner. Your mind stays sharp, focused, and unusually clear, even as the clock ticks past 4. Is it just the creatine, or are you simply having a lucky week? The truth is far more fascinating. Beneath the surface of your skin, a quiet biological revolution is taking place. You might not see it yet, but your body is changing from the inside out. To understand this revolution, we need to rewind the clock all the way back to your very first dose. The moment you swallow that first scoop, something remarkable begins, yet you feel absolutely nothing. There is no sudden rush of heat, no caffeine-like jitter, and no immediate pump. But don't let the silence fool you. Your body is not a stranger to this molecule. Right now, as you listen to this, your liver and kidneys are already hard at work, naturally producing about 1 gram of creatine every single day. It is a fundamental part of who you are. The problem is, for most of us, that natural baseline is just barely enough to keep the lights on. It is not enough to optimize. It is not enough to thrive. So when you introduce that extra supplement, your cells do not react with suspicion. They do not treat it like an intruder. Instead, they recognize it instantly. They open their gates, welcoming the extra help they have been starving for. The creatine enters your bloodstream and begins to weave its way deep into your muscle fibers. And here is where the magic and the most common misunderstanding begins. As the creatine settles into your muscles, it begins to draw water in with it. But I want you to listen closely. This is not the kind of water retention that makes you look soft or bloated. This is not about holding fluid under your skin or making your face look puffy. This is what we call intracellular hydration. The water is being pulled inside the muscle cells themselves. Think of it like preparing a world-class laboratory for a massive experiment. You are not changing the equipment yet, and you are not making the workers stronger just yet. You are simply optimizing the environment. You are priming the engine. By hydrating the cell from the inside out, you are creating the perfect, high-pressure environment for the biological explosion that is about to follow in the coming weeks. By the time you hit the end of your first week, the foundation has been laid. The internal environment of your muscles is hydrated and ready. But now we need to talk about what is actually powering your movement. To understand why you feel more capable in the gym, you have to understand a tiny molecule called ATP. In the world of your cells, ATP is the only currency that matters. It is the universal energy unit. Every time you blink your eyes, every time your heart beats, and every single time a muscle fiber contracts, you are spending ATP. Think of it like the cash in your wallet. The problem is, your body is incredibly stingy with this cash. Your cells only store enough ATP to power a few seconds of intense effort. When you lift a heavy weight or sprint for the door, you burn through your entire savings almost instantly. This is exactly where the wall is hit. Usually, once the ATP is gone, your body has to wait for slow metabolic processes to kick in and make more. But this week, something is different. Because you have been consistent with your creatine, your muscles are now packed with a high-energy molecule called phosphocreatine. Imagine this as a high-speed, emergency backup battery that never sleeps. The moment you spend an ATP molecule, it breaks down and loses a piece of itself. It becomes spent energy. But phosphocreatine is standing by, ready to strike. In a fraction of a millisecond, it donates a piece of itself to that spent molecule, instantly recycling it back into fresh, usable ATP. You are not just spending energy anymore. You are recycling it in real time. This is why you aren't suddenly superhuman, but you are becoming remarkably efficient. You are buying yourself those extra few seconds of peak performance. That extra rep at the end of a set, that is not a miracle. That is your new recycling system working at the speed of light, keeping your cellular engine running long after it should have stalled. As you enter your second week, something strange begins to happen. It is subtle at first, shifting away from the iron and the sweat of the gym and moving into the quiet spaces of your daily life. There is a secret about creatine that the fitness industry often forgets to mention, tucked away behind the talk of muscle mass and power output. And that secret lives right between your ears. Your brain is, quite literally, the most energy-hungry organ you possess. Think about it. While it only accounts for a tiny 2% of your total body weight, it relentlessly consumes a massive 20% of your daily energy. It is a biological supercomputer that never shuts down. Every decision you make, every complex problem you solve, and every emotion you regulate requires a massive, steady flow of ATP. By now, that recycling system we talked about in your muscles has started to establish itself within your neurons. The backup battery is finally being installed in your brain. And this is when you notice the lag starting to disappear. We all know that dreaded 3 p.m. slump, that moment in the afternoon where your focus begins to fracture, where your emails start to look like a foreign language, and the mental fog rolls in so thick you can barely find your way through a simple task. Usually, this is because your brain's ATP levels are struggling to keep up with the sheer demand of a modern, high-stress workday. You feel drained, not because you lack motivation, but because you are quite literally running out of cellular fuel. But this week, the fog is thinner. When the pressure mounts and the deadlines loom, you notice that you are not hitting that wall as hard as you used to. The mental lag between a thought and an action feels shorter. You are more resilient to the exhaustion that usually follows a day of heavy cognitive work. Now, let's be clear. Creatine is not going to turn you into a genius overnight. It won't give you a higher IQ or teach you a new language while you sleep. But what it does is far more practical for your real life. It keeps your internal processor running at its peak clock speed for longer. It provides the neural energy necessary to maintain your focus when the world is trying to distract you. It is like someone finally upgraded the power supply to your most important tool. You feel more like yourself for more of the day. You are handling the stress, managing the chaos, and staying sharp long after you would typically be reaching for a third cup of coffee. Your brain is finally awake, fueled by the same invisible revolution that is currently rebuilding your body. Now we return to where we started. 3 weeks of consistency. This is the sweet spot of your journey. Inside your body, the energy tanks are finally topped off. Your muscles have reached what scientists call saturation, and while you haven't transformed into a giant bodybuilder overnight, as we touched on at the very beginning, something undeniable is starting to happen when you look in the mirror. If you look closely, your muscles carry a new kind of presence. They look fuller, tighter, and more athletic. This isn't an illusion, because your muscle cells are now perfectly hydrated from the inside out. They take up more space and hold their shape with more definition. You don't look bloated. You look primed. You look like an engine that is finally running on the right fuel. But the most profound change in week 3 isn't how you look. It's how you bounce back. Your recovery speed has reached its peak. Think about the last time you had a grueling leg day. Usually, you would be hobbling down the stairs for 3 or 4 days, trapped in that deep, aching soreness. But now, the chemistry has shifted. Because your cells have an abundance of energy, they can clear out metabolic waste and repair microscopic tears much faster than before. By the time the second day rolls around, that crippling soreness is gone. Your body is ready to go again, while everyone else is still resting. And this is the secret truth of creatine. The supplement itself doesn't build the muscle. The recovery builds the muscle. Because you can get back to the gym sooner, and because every single rep you perform is higher in quality and intensity, you are triggering more growth than you ever could before. The creatine provides the environment, but you are finally the one providing the results. You are no longer just exercising, you are evolving. As you cross the threshold of week 3 and move into the months and years ahead, something fundamental shifts. The novelty of the supplement begins to fade, and creatine starts to become an invisible partner in your daily life. By now, you have reached that state of total saturation we talked about. Your cellular energy tanks are full. Because of this, you might notice that the rapid week-to-week jumps in strength start to level off. You won't feel like you're gaining a new superpower every Monday anymore. But do not mistake this stability for a lack of progress. Far from it. Even when you can't feel it working, creatine is still down there, deep within the machinery of your cells, working overtime. It has shifted its role from a transformation agent to a master of maintenance. It is quietly shielding your nervous system from the wear and tear of modern life. It is standing guard over your neural energy, ensuring that your brain stays resilient during those long, grueling weeks where sleep is scarce and stress is high. Think of it as an insurance policy for your potential. It ensures that your baseline, your lowest level of performance on your worst day, is significantly higher than it used to be. You are no longer starting from zero every morning. You are starting from a foundation of abundance. The fitness world loves to talk about magic pills and overnight transformations, but the real story of creatine is much more honest. It is not a flash in the pan. It is not a shortcut. It is a long-term commitment to the biological integrity of your body and your mind. It is the commitment to being 5% more focused during a difficult meeting. It is the commitment to squeezing out one more quality rep when your muscles are screaming for you to stop. It is the compound interest of health. Over time, those tiny, invisible advantages stack up. They build a version of you that is more durable, more capable, and more mentally present. So as you look back on these first 3 weeks, realize that you haven't just completed a trial run. You have successfully upgraded your body's operating system. You have installed the backup battery that most people will never have. You have paved the way for a future where your energy isn't a limitation, but a fuel for your ambition. The biological revolution is no longer a mystery to you. You know the science. You have felt the shift. And now the only question that remains is this: are you ready to stop searching for miracles and start trusting the process? Because your body is finally equipped for the long game. And the game has only just begun.